And for today's video, we are definitely stepping out of our comfort zone. Welcome everyone, and thanks for being here. For today's great adventure, we find ourselves in a very unusual spot for this channel. We're in Greenwood Cemetery in Orlando. And I'm here to check out the famous graves, including descendants of one of our founding fathers here. And I'm inviting you to come join me on a cemetery safari. And Greenwood Cemetery has been around since 1880, and it's got some real famous graves of people from Central Florida and Orlando. And I'm hopefully gonna find the graves and match up what they have done or significance of them with some pictures. And the only other time I took the channel to a cemetery was the Woodlawn Cemetery in Gotha, about 20 minutes west of here. And that was for Bob Ross. We went to see the grave of Bob Ross. I'll put a link in the video. And I don't see too many of these in the cemetery. An obelisk. And look at this here. If you're from Orlando, you may recognize this. This is the original fountain of Lake Eola. I'll put a picture in there what it looks like now. But this is the original one here, located probably in the center of the cemetery here. And I apologize for the glare, but if you ever caught a spring training game in Orlando in the 80s or 90s, you probably sat in Tinker Field, named after Joseph Tinker, who played for the Cubs. And this stadium was next to the old Citrus Bowl, which is now Camping World Stadium. And Joseph Tinker was a member of one of baseball's greatest double play combinations, from Tinker to Evers to Chance. And the cemetery is adjacent to the 408 running right behind me, which also happens to be right next to the Orlando Executive Airport. And hopefully people here are resting in eternal bliss. And take a look off in the distance. I'm on a kind of a berm or hill here in the cemetery, and there is downtown Orlando. Maybe 5 minutes east of downtown Orlando we are. And if you attended school in Central Florida, this name is gonna be familiar. Thomas G. Lee, better known as T.G. Lee. You drank from the milk cartons as a kid in all the schools in Central Florida, T.G. Lee milk. And they also sold their milk in Publix and Winn-Dixie. And fun fact, I grew up near the old T.G. Lee farm. And fittingly enough, we are actually close to the milk district here as well, where there's a T.G. Lee factory or processing plant or something in the milk district. And for a reference for his grave, there's a real tall palm tree right next to T.G. Lee's grave site. And we found another one here, Robert S. Carr, better known as Bob Carr, mayor of Orlando from 56 to 67. Also has the Bob Carr Performing Arts Center in downtown Orlando. I'll put a picture as well there. And there's the Carr family, the wife and the husband, 1899 to 1967. Well, he passed when he was the mayor? That's interesting, or right after he was the mayor? And death is not easy at any age, but particularly here. This one's known as Babyland, and everyone here is under the age of 5. Some of these people were not even a year old. You see all the toys and stuff left behind. I mean, it's heartbreaking. Some people died on the day they were born. Oh, this whole section here. That's tough, man. That's seeing that Babyland, that one. I mean, again, there's no dignity in death. There's nothing great about it, but that's a tough one there. And one thing you don't see too many of also in this cemetery is mausoleums here. This guy, Fred S. Weeks, apparently, after researching, he bought some land, ended up being swampland and not very usable. And basically, he got hoodwinked or bamboozled. So he put on his wall, which doesn't have a death date, a certain man went down from Jerusalem to Jericho and fell among thieves. This guy's holding a grudge. Probably rightfully so. And here I found the headstone of one of the first early mayors of Orlando, Mahan Gore, born February 4th, 1837, died June 27, 1916. There's also a street named after him, Gore Street. There's another famous Central Florida named Lou, named after Harry Lou, for Lou Gardens in Winter Park. Beautiful place to spend some time. And remember, we're in a very old cemetery, and fittingly here is a Confederate soldier memorial, 1861 to 1865. And I did find a few Confederate graves in here as well. Let's go check them out. Okay, Andrew Barber, Confederate States Army. And apparently his brother, William Barber, Confederate States Army, and quite a few Confederate States soldiers here as well. And they have a pretty decent section of soldiers that actually fought in the Civil War. And they have an obelisk here to our unknown soldier dead in memory of the Army and Navy, 1861, 1865. Again, Civil War era. And I say fittingly because this cemetery, like I said in the beginning of the video, was founded in 1880. And of course, the Civil War ended in 1865. So those people that lived through the Civil War but died later on were buried here. And this is a historical marker I was looking for, the Epps Shine Plot Cemetery. Buried here are members of the Epps and Shine family, descendants of President Thomas Jefferson, the author of the Declaration of Independence. This is a really neat find. So after a little further reading on this historical marker, the Shine family married into Jefferson family, and they named a street after his wife's family, Shine did, and it's Jefferson Street, and it's in downtown Orlando. And here are some of the Shines in the Epps gravesite, descendants of Thomas Jefferson. If you're familiar with the Orlando area, that name Paramore should ring a bell. It's the area west of downtown, historically black area. There's also a street named after him. And this is the founder, James B. Paramore, amongst his family. This is a resting place for the Paramores. And right next to the descendants of Thomas Jefferson family is Joseph Bumby. Joseph Bumby owned the first hardware store in Orlando. He's amongst his 8 children here, the Bumby boys. And there's also a street named after him, Bumby Street. And here are his kids and his wife, the Bumby plot. And this section here has veterans from World War I all the way up to the Vietnam War. And some of them, at least one I found, has World War I and World War II on his headstone. That's just amazing. And here's one right here, Archie Bishop, Florida, U.S. Navy, World War I and World War II. That's just amazing. December 27, 1885, March 2nd, 1955. Wow. And some of his headstones are so old. They're like, you can't read nothing on it. And here's the final resting spot of an OPD, Orlando Police Department officer, Karen Long, February 7, 1974, October 10, 2015. I wonder if she died in the line of duty or another cause of death. And with all that said, that's going to wrap it up here at the Greenwood Cemetery in Orlando, Florida. I appreciate you joining me. Kind of stepped out my comfort zone here doing this, but I actually enjoyed it, especially the historical aspect of it and learning a little bit. So thanks again. Please like and subscribe. Take care. Until next time. Hey, thanks for watching this video. Please consider becoming a channel member. If you already are one, thanks for the support. Let's grow this thing together.